Hi guys, today I want to talk to you about the seasoning of cast iron pans. I have 4 of them here. This one is somewhat older already, so I completely cleaned it out, stripped it completely from the layer that was in there because I needed to start over. Because I'd been a bit dumb, I'd left some food in there with vinegar in there, an acid sauce, and that ruins a layer like that, so I had to start over. Now the first step is to get it all completely stripped. Now that's what I've done already because that's loud and stuff, because I do that with a Dremel machine, because that goes much faster than by hand. So I have them here now stripped. The next step is to wash them with some hot soapy water, and we'll do that now. And after this, we're just going to dry them with a tea towel. Make sure they're really very dry, because you do not want to have any wetness on there before you start putting the oil on them, because the moment you do that, you can have rust under the seasoning layer. You don't want that. Alright, I've dried them. I've made sure they are very dry. I've let it stand for a little bit to make sure that it's also air dried for the last little bits. I also have made sure that my oven is cold, because that's very important. Once I've got the oil on, I put them upside down in the oven, and then I turn the oven on the maximum temperature that I have. For me that's 230 degrees. That is a very good temperature. That's, how much is that in Fahrenheit? Let me have a quick look. That will be about 450. So for the Americans amongst us, 450 is a good temperature, but just go, you know, if you can only do 200, you can only do 200, but try to get the highest temperature up until about 230, 240 that you can. And then you do it upside down so that the oil can drip down in case you've put too much on. You have to make sure it's a really thin layer, because you basically want to prevent that. What then happens is that because it's so hot, you put that in for an hour and then it burns in. It really becomes almost a glassy layer in there. I always use flax oil because that's the most sturdy oil to make a layer like this with. What you then get is a very, very stable, strong layer. And with this pan, I've been using it for years before I actually had to redo it, and that was only because I've left acid in there. You know, when you leave a vinegar sauce in there with your stir-fry vegetables, it's going to get ruined, the layer, because that's just not what it can handle. But that's fine, you know, you live and learn. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do now. I use a bit of a cloth. You can also do paper towel, but I like using environmentally friendly things, so this cloth I can reuse and reuse and reuse. So I'll start with the smallest pan and then do them all a little bit. I also use organic flax oil. I don't use non-organic. And this is fairly empty, so see, it's going to be a very, very thin layer, because you don't want it dripping anywhere. You really want to make sure that it's just a very, very thin layer. Add a little bit more, so that I can do the rims here a bit. And these upper rims are also very good to do, because it just means that your food slides out really quick and easy. See, now you see the difference between the two. This is more shiny, that has enough oil in there, and this still needs it. You see that difference? Good, huh? Yeah. This process you need to repeat about 3-4 times in total. This is the first time that I do it with these. And the others, I will do them about 4 times. I tend to go for 4 times, because then you get a very, very strong layer. It's because you needed to do it so thin. You know, if you could just put the whole layer in and then let it go and become stable, that would be cool, but that doesn't work that way. You really need to build that layer up. And you can repeat it when you see that your layer is a bit on the, you know, starts to look a bit funny. You can actually repeat it. You can also completely strip it if you want to, but sometimes it's enough to just add another layer. when you put it in the oven, that requires an hour on 230. What you do first is that you start with a cold oven, then you put it all in, you then turn the oven on 230, then you wait until your oven is at the right temperature. The moment it's at the right temperature, you time an hour, and from there on you leave it the moment the alarm goes, because you then let it cool down in the oven with the door closed, so that the layer becomes very stable and very well. So, and there, this one has it as well. And now I'll put them in the oven. Okay guys, I've put them in the oven now, so all 4 fit in. Only just, nothing, no room left. So what I do now is, I turn my oven on. I won't do that because it makes noise, so I'll just talk you through it, and then I'll just do it. So, they're in, I turn it on 230, then first I close the door of course, then I turn it on the maximum temperature, which is 230 for me, or 450 for the Americans. Then I wait until the oven is at the right temperature, which means that the light goes off. The moment the light is off, I time it for an hour. Then after an hour I turn the oven off, then I leave everything in the oven to cool down. Once it's cooled down, you can repeat the process, and you need to do it about 3-4 times. And then you have a very good, stable, strong cast iron seasoned layer on there, and then you can do your cooking as much as you want. Okay, so it will take a bit before they're done, and I will show you the moment the layer is on, then you can see how glassy that becomes and how pretty that becomes. And that's it then. Okay, we're done now, the oven's cooled down, so I'm going to take them out. And then you can see that it has a slight glassy layer, which will get better and better. See? That's my wok. Here's the little one. You see that there's this slight layer on there. That will get thicker with the next 2 to 3 layers, because I will do that. This is just to show you how it goes in one layer, but the others will go on as well. Other pan. And the last one. They do look great, don't they? And now you know how to do it. You see that there's quite a difference in look. So tomorrow I'll continue.